Good evening, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another episode of Pathways, a show that is dedicated to celebrating the very best of the British Bangladesh community. For the last 2-3 weeks, every Sunday night, coming from the studios of TV1, we brought you a show that is celebrating our youngsters who achieved fantastic results in their A-levels GCSE results. And this evening, I have four more amazing students. But before I do so, I just want to start by saying what has been a difficult week in Britain. A lot of people have been questioning, talking about the loss of the Queen. We felt that we strongly wanted to carry on with the show, talk about our youngsters' success and their identity as British Bangladeshi. So I hope you will stay with us for the next hour where we talk to amazing guests and their parents about their journey into the success, but more importantly, going forward, what they would like to do. So I'm going to start with my right this evening. On my right-hand side is a guest, to me, is a very dear elder brother, a colleague, a friend. In a lot of times we've been working together on a lot of good things in East London and for the British Bangladesh community across the UK. But this evening he's here as a very proud father. I know he has 3 children, but he's brought one of his good child who is an exceptionally role model in our community. So Ohid Ahmed, Ohid Bhai, I will fondly call him. Please introduce, out of your 3 children, you've only bought one. You should have bought all 3 of them, but you've only bought one today. Introduce your amazing son to us.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Yes, I'm a proud father of Saqib Ahmed, who is sitting next to me. Saqib completed his graduation last year with first class, and he's going to Cambridge to study medicine. Alhamdulillah, yes, you mentioned I have 3 children. My older son is doing bar. He's completing his bar course, I think, this year. And Saqib is in the middle, and my daughter, lovely daughter, has done her GCSE. She did well, exceptionally well this year.
Maybe I'll bring her in next time with Bobby. So by the way, if you're watching at home, Bobby, please come, okay?
Inshallah.
Thank you very much. Welcome both to the show. On my left is first of all, I have last week I said I would like to have a proud mother in the studio. Though obviously, I've had mothers who've come and sat outside, but I want them in the studio. So this evening, I'm really proud that I've actually got an amazing, in fact, we will talk a little bit about her as well, because I think she's exceptionally a talented a professional in her own right. But today, Kamran Naha is here to introduce her amazing son. So first of all, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking your time out on a Sunday to visit and be with us. Introduce your son.
Thank you first for having us on your show today. And Assalamu alaikum, everyone. That's my son, Orono Ali. He just finished his, he just got his result for A-levels. He got 2 A stars and 1 A, and he's going to study medicine. He's going to St. George's University.
Okay, so I'm surrounded by doctors. This seems to be the good thing. I think the COVID has inspired all these youngsters to take up the role of professional in the medicine world, which is inspiring. So let me start with Saqib. Now, most people do a 3-year degree. They graduate first class. What an achievement. But Saqib, biomedicine.
Yep.
First class from Queen Mary, a very prestigious Russell Group University. It's not enough for you, is it? You're off to do another 4 years of studying. Or are you just sort of, enjoying the student life?
Yeah, as a part of it, just don't want to be an adult yet. No, I mean, this year I had a taste of being an adult because I took a year out to work in a pathology lab. So that was the first time I've worked full time. And in that scenario, in that job, I did have to utilize a lot of my degree. And I realized it just wasn't for me. Obviously, it was from the get-go this year that I wanted to apply for medicine, but working there sort of reinforced that. The environment was great, my colleagues were great, but the work itself, being within the confines of a lab, just wasn't for me.
It didn't fulfill you?
It didn't fulfill me, no. I think being more hands-on and being, having direct patient contact is something that I've always wanted. Even during my undergrad when I was applying for medicine, I've always wanted that more than working in a lab. And yeah, I'm just happy that now I'm going to have the opportunity to do that.
Because I know, I'm just looking at you thinking you've grown more, you're more taller than everything, mashallah, than your father. But as you might recall, I've known you since you were this height. Yeah. You know what you just said to me is reminded me, your dad's an accountant by profession. Mm-hmm. He doesn't like being behind the desk doing numbers. That's why he's a people's person. And I think that if I'm right, I think that's also in you. You don't want to be in a lab doing important work, that is.
Yeah, of course.
You want to be out there talking to the patient and dealing with this stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, is my segment, my sort of take
No,
on your son?
I think you were right.
Mm.
You know, that it's like you are absolutely right. I myself as an accountant, but obviously this is my profession. I do 9 to 5. Beside my profession, I do other works as you know. Just like enjoy helping people, enjoy talking to people, communicating with people, going out and talking to people, solving their problems. So yeah, I think he's got that kind
You've
of.
got that. And the other thing I want to say is obviously you're off to Cambridge, one of the most prestigious universities in the world, with 3 years of university life, 1 year of work experience. You're going to be far more advanced than your peers who've just come straight from university or college. You know, you're at an advantage in that sense. Maturity, experience, life experience is important. We see a lot of people coming out of university with that life experience. You'll be there to sort of not only just learn, but to share experience.
Yeah, I agree to an extent. You know, there's all sorts of people at university, and especially somewhere like Cambridge, where everyone there is very intelligent, very high in their fields. Since my course is a graduate course, there is a lot of people who also have experience, people with masters, people with PhDs. So even then, I'm going into quite a new challenge. I feel as though I think I'm the youngest in my course, but again, it's just more people to learn from, people who've got masters, people who've worked in research. It's just more to learn from, which I prefer, rather than being the most experienced. I prefer to be someone that can learn from others.
Learn from the others.
Yeah.
Excellent. So from one doctor to another, fantastic results at A-levels. And your proud mother said that you're off to St. George. What's the take on medicine? Why medicine? At what age or what sparked your fascination with medicine?
So I've always had a passion for science. I've always been stronger in the science subjects. But I've also had various mentoring roles within school throughout, from primary school, secondary school, sixth form as well. And in those roles, I saw that I really enjoyed using those kind of interactions with young people or whoever it is, and using those interactions to help them solve their problems. And being able to use my scientific knowledge to solve problems within the human body is something that really motivates me.
Okay, so I'm going to ask your mum. I mean, at what age did you see your son leaning towards a medicine field? As a mother, obviously, you're a professional yourself, so, but you have your family time. You see him growing up. At what age did you notice his interest was towards the more medicine line?
I think he was quite focused in his studies from a very young age, and he was very hardworking. Even when he was very young, it was quite easy for me to teach him, because he was like he will concentrate on his studies. So he was getting good results. He was doing good, and he was passionate about his studies. I didn't have to force him. He just comes to him naturally. Mashallah, he's quite talented, but he's also hard work. He wants to do hard work. Okay. So I think probably when he did his 11 plus.
Okay, so this is the difficult bit. As a parent, and I'm also a parent now, we get this idea that you let your children do what they would like. That sort of thing. You should encourage them, but let them. How much of that is true for you as a very bright parent of a very bright student? How much of that did you let him find his way, or did you guide him? As a mother, I'm going to ask the same thing to a father.
If I'm being honest, then I'm probably like the typical Asian parents who wants their children to be doctors or engineers only. All the other professions they think not makes the mark or something. So probably I was biased into that as well. But he was, I think I didn't push him too much. Just a little bit, because he had the potential. I saw, like, he's hardworking. I think for any success in anything, you need to be hardworking, especially for studies. If it doesn't come naturally to you, you can't force a child to do well. You can push, but you can't push that much. So it depends on them.
But he started quite early, because you did 11 plus.
11 plus, yeah.
You did 11 plus to get into a good grammar school in East London. How did you find that at the early age? I mean, it's a very challenge, especially going into the school that you went to. We can name it, it's Ilford, right? Thousands of people I know. Some people fly in from abroad to sit the exams. How did you feel? What was your sense of achievement then, at the age of 11? Is it you feel proud for yourself, your parents, or did you just like you want to sort of achieve?
Well, it was quite difficult at first because obviously there was a lot of studying involved at such a young age, and seeing my friends having fun at that time while I was at home studying, it was difficult. But I saw that my parents really wanted this, and once I did pass, once I did get into the school, the satisfaction that I felt was really good, and I felt like it was all worth it.
Okay. And I know you did your GCSE at the height of COVID, and that was, but that also proves that the early years, for you to set a good example at school and consistently doing good each year. I mean, obviously, God forbid another incident of COVID or such happens that young people are unable to sit exams. But that message about consistency is important, right? But apart from studying and being bright and doing good, because you're the eldest in the family and setting an example, what's your downtime? What do you enjoy doing away from studying?
Well, I really enjoy sports, in particular football.
Which is your team?
Arsenal.
Oh, we're not talking anymore. Okay, so sports, football's your... And not a cricket fan?
Also a cricket
Did your
fan,
school push you to cricket, or you...
Not really. I wasn't.
More of a football fan?
More football.
Playing or watching?
Play both.
Playing both. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you'll find someone that's... I mean, Cambridge is known for being a good rugby team as well, and canoe and a boat. And we're Bangladeshis, right? So we are naturally good at water. So there's a challenge for you there in the future. Sakib, same thing with you, really. I mean, obviously that you've had that time off from university and work, professional life. Mm-hmm. You're a working man. How did you find? I mean, obviously the 9 to 5, not what you did in the lab, but the whole experience going out in the real world.
It's funny you say that. It wasn't actually 9 to 5. My dad will know, like, because it was a COVID lab. It's open 24/7. People can bring in samples with a 3-hour turnaround time at like 2 a.m. So a lot of the time I was there overnight. It was really weird hours. So yeah, it was a weird experience. I'd say it was very different to being a student. Being a student, you have your 9 o'clock lectures, your afternoon lectures, and you know it's very much structured. Whereas my sort of past year hasn't been as structured. I've been, of course, it takes a lot of sacrifice as well going into medicine anywhere, not just at Cambridge. So I was in and out of work a lot. So yeah, I'd say it was difficult. I'd say more difficult than being a student.
And the thing I want to touch on you is, and some people might, will not know this, that when you got into medicine, when you got into Queen Mary,
Mm-hmm.
obviously you were trying to do medicine then.
Yeah.
It didn't work out, but you were happily, or you accepted that course,
Mm-hmm.
and you excelled, and you proved to university that you got a first. Which is, as a former Queen Mary board member, I think it was Queen Mary's loss not having you there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a message to the student watching at home about your motivation. You drove yourself to say, I want to be in medicine. And alhamdulillah, you're not only just doing medicine, and like I said, Queen Mary and Bart's loss, but you're now going to be at Cambridge. Give us that drive that got you there.
Of course, like I don't have a bad word to say against Queen Mary. It's a it's a tremendous institution.
Mm.
It did a lot for me. I think as far as timing goes, the motivation was always there, of course. But above motivation, I like to think of it as motivation being the trigger for why you want to do something, and then passion carrying you through to that. So for me, it was always the passion. Whenever I did work experiences, even when I went to my own appointments at the doctors, I was always fascinated. So it was that passion that carried me through. In terms of being a student, I'd say going to university first and doing an undergraduate degree, it allowed me to sort of make mistakes that I think makes me a better student today. So I think it was better for me to go and make those mistakes at a degree where, no offense, isn't as extreme, isn't as intense as medicine. So I make those mistakes, I know how I learn, and then now I'm going into medicine better equipped, better as a student, more mature to tackle the challenges of it.
Okay. Now your dad's there and your mum's there, living away from home, boys. How's the cooking skill? I mean, you're going to be doctors of the future, so you've got to live. If you're going to preach us to eat healthy and be healthy, then you've got to live. So how's your cooking skill?
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm a pretty good chef. Maybe not as good with rice and curry, but
It's all right. Okay.
yeah.
Pasta, what about yourself?
Pasta, yeah.
How's your cooking skill?
Quite basic, to be honest. I've got a long way to go. But
I mean, you're starting soon, right? October?
yeah.
Yeah? You've got a
Yeah,
few
but
weeks?
he's going from home, so...
Oh, you're going to travel in?
Yeah.
I suppose it's not very far. Okay. Well, listen, you're not going to live the university life. You've got to go and live at the university. That's a great experience. I suppose you've got 6 years, right? So you can take a year out and stuff. But no, I think one of the things I'm most interested to know is that the relationship. So with the education, so the institution, right? You went is a very focused one. Your London, the sixth form that you went is very focused, getting the best out of things. How did you fit into that? Because you're competing with the other 100 students there. What was the competition like?
Well, having come from a grammar school, I was already used to being in a very high-performing environment. But with LAE, they kind of try and develop you as a person as well. And that, I feel like I really enjoyed that. And I feel like it motivates you. I use that as a motivation, having these high-performing students around me to do better, to do the best I can. And I really managed to stay concentrated throughout the course.
Okay. Now, I've got very short time before this segment finishes. As a proud mother, who's also a profession in your own way, you've got your son into medical school. I mean, most of your friends will be very envious because you'll have a son as a doctor, inshallah. But talking to mums at home, what advice can you give to them about what you did, the sacrifice, but more importantly, the encouragement, in few words? And you can mix it in Bangla and English if you would.
Shall I speak?
Yeah,
in
sure,
Bangla?
yeah.
আমি যেটা বলতে চাই যে বাচ্চাদের মেন্টাল হেলথ খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট। তারা হ্যাপি থাকতে হবে যেটাই করতে চায়। কেউ যদি মেডিসিন পড়তে কিছুটা আগ্রহ থাকে, তার হার্ড ওয়ার্কিং মেন্টাল থাকে, তাহলে সে সেটা করতে পারে। আর যদি করতে না চায়, এটা ফোর্স করার দরকার নেই। আমি শিওর যে প্রত্যেকটা বাচ্চারই ইউনিক স্কিল থাকে, ইউনিক কতগুলো স্পেশাল কোয়ালিটিস থাকে। As long as they are passionate about what they want to do, and if they find their parents loving them, caring for them, listening to them, to their needs, every child can shine in their own way, whatever they do in their life.
Thank you very much. Well, look, this show's coming to the first segment is coming to an end. I look forward to keeping an eye on you, and if I'm doing one of those events at Cambridge, I hope you'll come. And as I said, you've got a mother who's obviously going to be motivating you and keeping an eye on you. So welcome. I mean, thank you very much for coming to the show. Wahid bhai, I mean, I know for all the stuff that you do, you're a very proud father today. But you give a lot of, I said this last time to another one of our community leader who came on, that you're giving your 9 to 5 professionalism, then you give a lot of your time outside. I think equally like you, your mum, Babi in my sense, has a contribution to this. But somebody who spends so much time doing more for wider community, how's the balance between your family, your children's education? How did you balance that?
Thank you, Abdal. Just very briefly, let me say a few words in Bengali. Yes, my life obviously very busy, as you know. Busy থাকার পরেও I tried my best. আমার বাচ্চাদের সময় দিবার লাগে। I'm very friendly with my children. আমার বোনের যেটা কথাটা হয়েছে যে আমরা typical, আমিও personally সাকিবরে চাইছিলাম at the beginning ডাক্তার হইবার লাগে, because I know তার এই talent আছে, but Sakib was very much against this idea. No, he didn't want to be a doctor. Hence, he didn't apply. He didn't go through any of this medical test or this. So, যখন চিন্তা করছে তার ফ্রেন্ড হলে দেখা হয়েছে, it was too late for him to apply for medicine. So quickly, he just Queen Mary biomedicine enter করছেন, where he had done obviously. Now he's going to Cambridge. আমার হতো লোকটা যে আমরা যদি প্যারেন্টস হলে যেটা চাই, অনেক সময় এটা আল্লাহ এটা ফুলফিল করেন, এটা ইচ্ছা। যদি আমরা এই যে থিঙ্কিংটা লাইক থাকে, অনেক সময় দেওয়া লাগে বাইক ধরে। ইয়েস, সাকিব ওয়াজ লাইক হিম, সাকিব ওয়াজ স্ট্রাকচার্ড। সাকিব অনেক সময় আছে, আমরা দেখা গেছে যে মেডিসিনও ক্যামব্রিজও যাইবার আগে অনেক ইভেন্ট হল, আমার ফ্যামিলি ইভেন্ট হল সাকিবে মিস করছে। সো হি ওয়াজ টেলিং হিজ সিস্টার দ্য ডে দ্যাট আমার অনেকে অ্যারোগেন্ট কইছেন, আমার কইছেন যে আই এম নট সোশিয়াল, বাট অবভিয়াসলি আই হ্যাড টু ডু ইট, বিকজ আমি ইভেন্ট হলো যাইতে পারছি না, বিকজ আমার যে টাস্ক আছে এগুলো আমার ফুলফিল করা লাগছে। সো তার অ্যাপ্লিকেশন, ইন্টারভিউ, এভরিথিং সাকিবে করা লাগছে, করিয়া তাই কেন যাওয়া লাগছে। এখানে মাঝে ইয়েস দুজনের ইম্পর্টেন্ট রোল আছে প্যারেন্টস হিসাবে। আমি যেটা আছে আমার ওয়াইফের বেশি এখানে ক্রেডিট, বিকজ তাই বাচ্চা দুটো স্কুল দিছেন, স্কুল থেকে আনছেন, তারা টিউশনের ব্যবস্থা করছেন সব, বিকজ আই ওয়াজ সো বিজি উইথ আদার ওয়ার্ক, আমার ওয়াইফে বেশি সময় দিছেন। বাট এট দ্য এন্ড অফ দ্য ডে বাচ্চা যে স্ট্রাকচার থাকলে, বাচ্চা যদি মোটিভেট করা যায়, ইনশাআল্লাহ তারা অনেক জিনিস হলে অ্যাচিভ করতে পারবে। আমরা কমিউনিটিতে কিন্তু ট্যালেন্ট বাচ্চাদের অভাব নাই, বাট আমরা কমিউনিটি যদি ফাদার হোক, আমার প্যারেন্টস হকলে যদি, মা হকলে যদি, বাপ হকলে যদি আমরা বাচ্চা যদি লুক আফটার করি, ইনশাআল্লাহ they will do very well.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you both for coming on show. I think we're in good hands with the future doctors in our community, but also very encouraging words from the mother and the father about being there, being supportive, in a very constructive way, but also allowing and having a loving family. There's no point just saying you need to be a doctor and that's it. So stay with me. We're going to go for a short break, and after the break, we've got another mother and a father with their two bright students. So we'll be back after a short break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the final part of this Pathway show that is dedicated to celebrating the very best of the British Bangladeshi community students. First segment, I had this exceptionally two wonderful students who are both studying or going on to study medicine at Cambridge. And I have another set of students with me this segment who are also, I believe, are interested, if not are going off to do medicine. So why don't I sort of make the introduction first? On my right is a proud father from North London, Ahibdur Rahman. Bhai, ধন্যবাদ, থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ। আপনি কষ্ট করে আজকে সন্ধ্যার সময় আইসেন আমরা শোর মাঝে। আপনি আপনার ওয়াইফও আইসেন স্টুডিও, তাই আমরা লগে একটু জয়েন করবা ফিসন তাকিয়া। বাট আপনি আইসেন, আপনার মেয়েরে আপনি একটু পরিচয় করে দিবানি।
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. This young lady, my beautiful daughter, I'm very proud of her. Her name is Sarah Rahman. She just completed her GCSE. She got all A double star on all subjects. She's studying A-level at Sixth Form College, Woodhouse Sixth Form College. I'm very, very proud of her.
Okay. And so welcome, Sarah. How do you feel? Your dad's giving you a very glowing a reference, which equally, I must say, matches your personality. You're a very confident young lady. All those nines, I mean, I've lost count now how many stars there were. But tell us a little bit about you and your favorite subject out of all the nines that you got.
Well, I think my favorite are like maths and the sciences, definitely.
So do I detect another doctor in the making?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not too sure. Like, I still enjoy like engineering, and so I'm not too sure yet. I mean, there's still time.
Okay, maybe by end of the show you'll tell us what you want to do.
Yeah.
আমার বাম দিকে আছেন another proud father যেন আসছেন উনি ছেলেরা নিয়ে ভাই নাসিরুল্লাহ শেখ, আপনার ছেলে আপনি পরিচয় করে দিবেন আপনার সেলফ।
আমার নাম শেখ নাসিরুল্লাহ শেখ, আমার ছেলে রাইমুল্লাহ শেখ। সে জিসিসিতে ভালো রেজাল্ট করছে, তার জন্য আমি অনেক হ্যাপি। সো আমি আশা করি সামনে আরও সে ভালো করে। এটা তো মাত্র ফার্স্ট স্টেপ, আরও আছে সেকেন্ড স্টেপ, থার্ড স্টেপ। আমি দোয়া করি যাতে সে আরও ভালো করে। আর সবচেয়ে বড় কথা যে সে কোনোদিনও প্রাইভেট টিচার কাছে পড়ে নাই। আমি তাকে নিয়ে গেছিলাম, সে 2-4 দিন যাওয়ার পরে সে চলে আসছে, বলছে যে আব্বু আমি একাই পারবো, টিচার যেটা করে আমি তো একাই পারবো। তা আমি বললাম ঠিক আছে, তুমি একাই দেখি পারো কি না। পরে সেই থেকে ও একাই এত দূর আসছে। আর বিশেষ করে হইলো ওর আম্মার অবদান আছে বেশি। ওর আম্মা সবসময় খেয়াল করতো, আমি তো কাজে ব্যস্ত, বেশি খেয়াল করতে পারতাম না। তো আমার মনে হয় তার আম্মা বেশি তার জন্য।
আমরা প্রোগ্রামের পক্ষ থেকে আপনাকে এবং আপনার ওয়াইফ ওর আম্মাকে আমরা ধন্যবাদ জানাই, অ্যান্ড থ্যাংক ইউ আপনার সময়, মূল্যবান সময় নিয়ে আপনি এখানে কষ্ট করে আসছেন। সো রাহিমুল্লাহ, tell us about your success.
So I got 7 nines in my GCSEs, and I'm going to sixth form in NCS, and I wanted to carry on studying medicine because at a young age I always was fascinated about sciences, and I feel like studying medicine will actually challenge me intellectually, and will allow me to help people along the way.
Okay. Well, that's very good, but I want to go back a step. Very confident. From when I met you back at outside the studio, you sound very confident, you look very confident, and your dad just reinforced that. যে তুমি যে সময় প্রথমবার গেছলা যে tuition, your dad had to pay someone to teach you, and that you came home after 2-3 days and said 2-3 days, and you said, Baba or Abu, I can pretty much do that myself. That's for early age. I take it that was year 9, year 10, right? Year 9, year 10. That's a great sense of confidence, and that's a great sense of self-awareness. So how did that come about?
It's just observing the world. I noticed that as I grow older, I have to grow more independent. I might as well start early on instead of like growing dependent on other people.
Okay, so and you went to a normal, what I call a normal comprehensive school, right? And it's Dagenham,
Yeah.
still East London, and all the problems I don't want to focus on the problems, but the things that you associate with deprivations, everything else. What made you stand up? What was your motivation to sort of get out of that?
I always believed I had something in me, like a quality in me, and if you have that kind of quality, you'll always shine wherever you are. And I believed in myself and always worked hard towards any goals I had, and here I am.
Here you are, and a testament to both your mum and dad for supporting you, encouraging you, but you being so self-determined, self-starter, so good. So that's exactly the kind of people that do well in life, from my experience. Sarah?
Yeah.
Same for you. You're here, that means you're great. That's a good start. At what age did you feel confident? I mean, you come from a school in North London, where it's actually quite diverse. There's a very mixed population of different people, different background, different set skills. As a young British Bangladeshi girl, overtly Muslim, because you've got a headscarf on, but that's nothing to hold you back. It's your self sort of empowerment. What made you stand out in your class? Or your year group, or even more?
Yeah, my year group, 90% of them have English as their second language. So for considering I was born here, so I did have that upper hand to them. But a lot of my friends, they came from India or only recently, like 2 or 3 years ago. So I had to like help them with their GCSEs and studying. So I think that helped me as well.
Your school, you're going to a grammar school, sixth form, but you went to a normal comprehensive secondary school. So you did well, and obviously you're motivated, your parents are supportive. And sixth form, you wanted to go to a grammar school sixth form because we know that they have a bit more money, a bit more structure. Is that what's kind of motivated you? I'm sure your sixth form, your school wanted to keep hold of you because you've been one of their brightest students. But what was your motivation?
I think because with that, it's a sixth form college, so they focus on A-level students, whereas with other schools, they will focus on GCSE and A-level. So
it gets diluted a little bit.
Yeah, so I wanted that, like, the teachers are focused only on us, on our courses as well.
Okay, so what number are you in the family?
I'm the only child.
You're the only child.
Yeah.
So you get all the attention, right? Mummy and Baba give you all the time and effort. So in terms of your extended family network, right? Was it someone who helped you, as in be it a role model or pushed you as a sibling? What do you call it, like your cousins and whatever?
Yeah, definitely. I have a cousin who also did GCSE at the same time as me, and we're both going to the same college as well. So we both helped each other, we'd call each other, revise together, and yeah, she helped a lot.
And how was the lockdown period? I mean, obviously missing a lot of schools and stuff.
Yeah.
You were very self-determined, motivated, having a cousin who's similar age, doing those Zoom calls and WhatsApping video calls and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It was good. We still are going to push you to decide between engineering or doctor, but we'll come back to you on that one. I want to go back to you because you talked about not reliant on other people. Now, obviously, you've gone to NCS, right? Which we know in East London, it's in Newham. It's one of the best places for going off to Oxbridge. Where do you want to end up?
Inshallah, I want to end up in Cambridge as they have really good medicine facilities, and I want to make a name for myself, and I feel like Cambridge is the best place to do that.
Okay, and this is a question to both of you. So obviously your parents are Bangladeshi, you're Bangladeshi. What's that? How important is that through what you've learned through your secondary school, going forward to the sixth form and going on to university? And doing something post, your Bangla roots, how important is that to you?
Both of my parents are really hardworking. No matter what life has given them or whatever they have faced, they kept on working. And I feel like in modern society, we were more like we were persuaded to find an easy way out. They never did. Kept on working. And I feel like that kind of mentality rubbed off on me. And yeah, I just want to do the same.
That's excellent. What about yourself? Your personality comes, obviously your parents are giving you good support and stuff. But as a young British Bangladeshi woman, how do you see yourself in the future?
Yeah, well, how I'm a hijabi as well, I'd definitely like to show that we can make it elsewhere, in the world. Like, for example, in engineering, it's a male-dominated field. So if I went into that, I was hoping to show people that other Muslims as well, other girls, that they can do it as well.
Excellent. Well, I mean, listen, the hijab is not a factor, it's not a
Yeah,
shouldn't hold
it's
you
not,
back.
yeah.
If you're determined to do things, this so-called glass ceiling, it is doable, it is breakable, and I hope you will do that. But I want to talk a little bit, because you're GCSE students, you know, you've got more fun time, right? You've had, well, how was the summer holidays? You know, we're waiting for the GCSE, the results. I mean, given 2 years ago, a year ago, everyone got like a predicted grade from your teachers, but you actually sat exam. How nervous were you? Or were you confident that you did well?
To be honest, I always was pretty confident because I started my revision in the summer holidays. So like, it got to the point where I was like, I was pretty done with GCSE content around, let's say, February or something. So I just
3 months in advance.
Yeah, I just recap and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was pretty confident throughout that whole period.
And in terms of you're going to NCS, which is a very driven institution, have you got many people that you know there who are coming from your area or your school?
Yeah, I do, and it's great to have people that I know. As like you can like build like long-term relationships.
Yeah, that's excellent. And obviously you've got your cousin who's going to be going there, and so you've got a natural bond. I mean, look, this is not hard interview show. This is more about your experience. But I mean, I want to ask your parents. And আপনারা তো অবশ্য আপনার বাচ্চাদের যে খুশি হিসাবে যে তারা যে ভালো রেজাল্ট করছে, তবে আপনার পিছনে কোনো সময় একটু ডাউট আসেনি যে তারা যে কষ্টফার তারা যে লেখাপড়া মাঝে একটা মানে আমরা দেশের লেখাপড়া এক লেখা নেই, দেশের লেখাপড়া তো ডিফারেন্ট। আপনার কাছে কোনো একটু ডাউট আসেনি, কোনো একটু বই আসেনি যে তারা রাইট ট্র্যাকেও আসেনি? বুঝতে পারছেন যেটা কইতেছি, because you said to me যে আপনার বাসায় বলছে যে না বাবা আমি এটা করতে পারবো। Did you question that আমার ছেলে is he in the right path?
আমার ওর প্রতি আমার মানে ছোট থেকে বিশ্বাস ছিল। ও যখন ইতালিতে ক্লাস 1-এ পড়ে তখন ওর টিচার বলছেন যে তুমি একটু টেক কেয়ার করো।
You grew up in Italy?
Yeah, I did.
How's your Italian? Can you speak a little bit of
A bit. I mostly like practice my Bengali at home, so I forgot most of it.
So you got a little bit of Italian.
তখন টিচার বলছে যে তুমি তোমার ছেলেরে একটু টেক কেয়ার করো, তোমার ছেলে ভালোভাবে লেখাপড়া করতে পারবে, তুমি টেক কেয়ার করো। পরে আমি চিন্তা করলাম যে মনে হয় হতে পারে। পরে আমরা চিন্তা করলাম যে এইখানে তো ইটালিতে তেমন
স্ট্রাকচার অত বেশি
নাই। পরে আমরা চলে আসলাম ইংল্যান্ডে। আসার পরে ওর পড়ালেখা দেখলাম, সব কিছু দেখলাম যে না, ও নিজের ইচ্ছাটা বেশি। আমাদের কোনোদিন পুশ করতে হয় নাই যে এটা করো, পড়ো।
এক্সেলেন্ট। আমি এটা আমরা অনেক দেখছি যে লন্ডন যারা নতুন মানে লাস্ট 10 years ইটালি থেকে আমাদের দেশি লোক যারা আসছেন, sole purpose is education. And I'm saying this live on TV, যারা আমাদের ভিউয়ার্স যারা দেখতেছে, যে আপনারা মানে যারা আমরা তো মানে মনে আছে আমরা যারা লন্ডনে পড়া পড়ছি, আমরা তো একটা এখানে এস্টাবলিশ হয়ে গেছি। বাট ইটালি থেকে লাস্ট 10-15 years যারা বেশিভাবে যারা আসছেন, the number one priority has been to get their children better educated. And I think this is the great thing about Britain. You know, our education system here is so much more better, even though it's more costly now because of you have to pay your fees and everything else, but it is still much better. And so it's a credit to I'm really saying this to you. The sacrifice, you obviously acknowledge it, but the sacrifice আপনার যারা আসছে ইটালি থেকে, the brothers and families and sisters who've come over for their children's education, আপনাকে আমি বিশেষ ধন্যবাদ জানাই, কারণ আপনারা এই যেখানে একটা ভালো লাইফ রেখে অনেকজন অনেক ভালো একটা লাইফ।
বিশেষ করে আমিও ভালো চাকরি করতাম, আমার ওয়াইফও চাকরি করতো ওখানে। ওইগুলা সব কিছু ফেলে রেখে চলে আসছি একমাত্র আমার সন্তানদের জন্য। অনেকে হয়তো বিশ্বাস করে না, যে বললে বিশ্বাস করে না।
আমি জানি,
আমার ভিতর থেকে আমি যতটুকু বলি বিশ্বাস যে আমি আমার সন্তানের জন্যই আমি আসছি এখানে।
এটা আমি জানি, এর জন্য বললাম যে আমি দেখছি
কষ্টটা, তা আমাকে রাইমুল্লাহ আমাকে সারপ্রাইজ দিছে।
Well, may he continue to do much good. But সমান জিনিস আপনার একমাত্র মেয়ে, your only child. অবশ্য আমরা as a parent you give up everything for the children, but যে ওই যে স্ট্রাকচারটা, সাপোর্টটা, যে এডুকেশন, especially you have a daughter, to give her that opportunity to do good, and I'm sure she will repay you back with getting excellent grades in the future. আপনার যে একটা আশা আছে as a father to a daughter, আপনি একটু আমরা মানে যারা বাসায় দেখরা একটু এক্সপ্রেস করবেন।
Firstly, I mean, she has gone through a lot because we've moved house in middle of her GCSE. Just when she was in year 11, just start of GCSE, we used to live in Hackney. We moved to North London. So moving school, then making new friends. Plus, she was always high achieving in her school. When she came to new school, the teachers don't know where she is, so she had to start from the bottom. She was kind of a little bit depressed because she was in a higher end in everything in her old school. When she came to new school, she wasn't getting that much homework. She's used to a lot of homework, or she wasn't, so I would give her the credit because she done everything mostly by herself. The school had helped her. I'm not going to say that.
Of course,
but
of course.
Yeah, and obviously I gave credit to her grandmother and her mum for encouraging her. Obviously I'm busy most of the time, but I try to give her as much time as I can. But it's the mothers who give most of the time to the child.
So in that case, Sarah, in Bangla, why don't you say to your dadu, your dadu and your mum who are watching, say something to them for thanking them on this show. How about that? You don't have to do it in Bangla. You can do it in English. You can do it in English.
Yeah, thank you, Dadu and Ammu, for all your encouragement, support, and help throughout the years. I don't think I could have done it without them.
Excellent. So, দাদু আপনি যখন দেখছেন আমরা শ্রোতাকে আপনারা আমরা ধন্যবাদ জানাই এখন আপনি আপনার নাতিনরে পুশ করছেন মোটিভেট করছেন and that is also the great thing about আমরা যে বাংলা community, we're intergenerational, right? Some of us are lucky we have a dadu or nana nanu, and then you have your parents and your dad's busy or your mom's busy, but you can have that support, and that is also important. It's a team effort. Obviously you sit the exam, but you behind the scene, your mum's done the food, done the whatever the things that needs to be done, your nana's giving you lots of love and cuddles and stuff, so it is important. What I also want to know is, because GCSE, some people think আমি mature হব এই লেভেলে গিয়ে আমি ভালো করে তারপর একটু ভালো ডিগ্রি করব, but it's the foundation, right? It's an absolute foundation. At the year 9, so you're like what, 13, right? 13, 14, you got to be quite focused. So because you are a very focused person, I want to for you to look at that camera and give your tips basically on how to choose and how to be focused.
So you have to look in yourself and understand what you actually want. And when you find out what you actually want, try to make a plan on how you're actually going to achieve that. And then just stay consistent with it, and you'll actually see results start coming in. Results are not going to come in straight away. Things happen slowly, and eventually they amount to big things.
Excellent. And এটা আউখারানে আমি একটা হাইলাইট করছি যে দেখেন আমাদের নাসরুল্লাহ ভাই যিনি আমরা অনেক দেখছি আমাদের টাউনার্সে ইস্ট লন্ডনে নিউইয়র্কে বার্কিং লাস্ট 10-15 ইয়ার্স আমাদের যারা দেশি ভাই যারা ইটালি স্পেন পর্তুগাল থেকে আসছেন শুধুমাত্র মোটিভেশন লাগে যে লেখাপড়া বাচ্চাদের লেখাপড়া and today I have a guest with me. His son is a testament that not only is he done well, but he's going to be one of the best. And I'm pretty confident that you said to me earlier that you want to go and study neurosurgeon, right? So this is for basically, that's brain. People who focus on the brain trauma, damage and stuff. So that's one of the highest level of in clinical surgery. So that's the motivation. So আমরা যারা লন্ডনে যারা brought up হইছি অথবা মা বাবা দাদা দাদি 40-50 ধরে লন্ডনে, we sort of feel like the energy, the motivation, the hunger is become a little bit diluted. Do you agree with me, Mike?
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Obviously, you've been brought up here, you've been thinking, is my assessment not accurate, but it has a certain sentiment, right?
Yeah.
So what can we do to re-engage, see the success of this young man, and say to us, we want the same?
Obviously, we have to try harder. We have to compete with other communities, because Indian community, they're doing really well, but we are still behind. We are catching up, because 5-10 years ago, not all of us, I have really heard anyone getting all A's or A stars, meaning in Bengali community. Nowadays, most families, like we Bengalis, are doing really good, but I really hope we do better. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. All right, going back to the young people. So when you're not studying and being absolutely sure that you're going to smash the results and everything, what do you do to your downtime? What's your leisure time?
I work out a lot. I work out 6 times a week. And I feel like I want to be a doctor in it, so if I can't even take care of my body, how am I going to take care of other people's bodies? And And I feel like going to the gym really helped me like to focus. That's one of the main reasons why I'm so determined, because I always set myself goals with everything, with video games or anything. I always set myself goals, and I feel like going to the gym really helped me to be disciplined as a man and also as a student.
Okay. And so gym is your kind of downtime thing?
Yeah.
No computer games?
Sometimes, but I used to play computer games from year 7 to year 8. I stopped from
Because
there.
you need
Yeah.
to. And what's your football team?
Man City.
Okay, we're not talking. Sarah, what's your downtime? What do you do to sort of relax and get away from studying?
Yeah, I enjoy like baking and sewing and stuff like that. Or like I like arts and craft, like something to express myself creatively.
So are you a good baker?
I think so.
Is Nadia your inspiration, sort of baking, or are you better than her?
I don't know.
So, but what about in terms of food? Are you sort of good at sort of Bangla stuff? Because you got your dadu. Is she
Yeah.
teaching you to do some Bangla stuff?
I mean, I try sometimes. Like I watch my mum make it, and she's kind of an inspiration in that way. So I like doing something that will connect us. So
Okay, and the reason I'm saying this, because I was speaking to the students earlier who are going to go off to university away from home. They're going to Cambridge, right? So they have to learn to cook. They have to
Yeah.
feed themselves. So, that's a good practice, I think. Has your cooking skill?
It's horrible, honestly.
Well, then
It's
there you go.
horrible.
You're good at everything, right? You've got to get better at cooking. But you've got a friend you've got a cousin who's going to be your mentor. You've got friends from your university. But just generally, I would like for you to express to the audience out there, as a young British Bangladeshi, your motivation to do better and to sort of retain your Bangla identity. Why don't you share with us, with the audience?
yeah, I mean, you shouldn't do it for other people. Even if anyone's pressuring you, you should do it for yourself. Because the only way you'll get better is if you think you want to aspire to make yourself achieve more, not for anyone else.
Okay, and we've learned through the show that your identity, you've got you're born in Italy, right? So you've got you're an Italian Bangla man, right? Dressing very smart. That comes with the Italian fresh air. You're now in Britain, a Bangladeshi community background, and you want to be a neurosurgeon. That's pretty impressive. What else can we what else can we expect from you in terms of going off to like the NCS? I don't know how many Bangladeshi students are there, but how were you able to sort of foster that Bangla identity within that very competitive environment?
We got this WhatsApp group chat, and most of us there are like Bengalis, and I feel like sometimes we communicate in Bangla, because I don't know, it just feels like home, to be honest, and we try to make the community feel like home.
So you're first year at NCS,
Yeah.
right? And you've already made like a little Bangla group
Yeah.
on WhatsApp. Okay. Well, if they're watching, right, a few words to them.
Just carry on what you're doing, and I'll always be there to support you lot.
Excellent, excellent. And আবার আপনাকে কাছে this way, that's sort of the community. আপনি যেটা বলছেন যে নতুন যারা আসছেন, not everybody is doing, their children are doing as great as yours. আপনার বাচ্চার ভাবে যারা একটু চিন্তা করছে যে আমি চেষ্টা করলাম আমার ছেলেটা ভালো রেজাল্ট করতে হয় না, একটু ডিসঅ্যাপয়েন্টেড, ওরা একটু এনকারেজমেন্ট দিতে পারবেন আপনি যে to keep trying, কিছু কইতে পারবেন ওরাকে যে they feel inspired, একটু এনকারেজ? বুঝতে পারছেন যে যারা আপনার ছেলে যাবে ভালো রেজাল্ট করছে, ওরা নট এভরিবডি।
আমি সবার বাবা আমাকে বলবো যে একটু টেক কেয়ার করলে বাচ্চাদের, যেমন বাচ্চারা আছে যে গেম খেলে, তারপর মোবাইল দেখে, এগুলা অনেকে টেক কেয়ার করে না, দেখে না, দেখতেছে কিছু বলে না। তো এগুলো একটু খেয়াল রাখলে হয়তো দেখা গেল যে সে একটু ইমপ্রুভ হবে লেখাপড়ার দিক দিয়ে।
কারণ সময় নষ্টের জন্য
করলে
আমরা যে সময় ছোট ছিলাম একটু খেলাধুলা বেশি করছি, কি একটু বেড়াইছি, আড্ডা দিছি। এখন তো বাসায় বসেই
কম্পিউটার, ল্যাপটপ প্লাস হইলো মোবাইল, এগুলা না দেওয়াটাই ভালো। আমি এখনো পর্যন্ত আমার ছেলেকে মোবাইল দেই নাই, ওরা আমার মোবাইল নিয়ে আসছে।
Okay, all right, that's a really good advice. And same thing you, Bhai. I mean, the thing is, when we were growing up, distractions was, you spending too much time watching TV. But now, because they had 2 years of COVID, they were learning from their laptops and iPads. Now, automatically you think they might be learning, but there has to be a clear definition between learning and educational or watching for fun time. It's a balance করতে হবে না?
Yeah, I think the important thing is have a balance. You have to have some study time.
Yeah.
You need entertainment, you need activities as well, sports and all that. But if you don't balance it properly, that's like her. I know she does every day in the morning. She'll do her prayers no matter what time she has to wake up. So she balances everything, and that, to me, creates a good result because you have to try hard, meaning, and you have to make yourself do the hard work. Yeah.
Excellent. Have you been to Bangladesh?
Yeah.
Have you been to Bangladesh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The reason I asked that is because at the last show, somebody talked about they spent the summer in Bangladesh, and people rang me up and said, "Wow, the young people are so interested in Bangladesh." So I didn't tell you I was going to ask you that, but I'm really pleased that you have. What's better, England or Italy?
Italy.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Fish and
just,
chips take pasta?
yeah, of course, pasta any day, any day.
Really?
Pasta and
I'm going to go into a debate now.
lasagna.
Yeah, lasagna. Okay. But honestly, I'm really proud that just the sacrifice that আপনি করছেন এই sacrificeর জন্য আজকে এই যে একটা handsome young man সেখানে আসে যে বলতে পারছে যে this is what I want to determine. So inshallah, you're 16 now.
Yeah.
In 15 years time, right? You will be graduate. You'll done your postgraduate training and everything else. And then soon, inshallah, we want to see you, doing the kind of the early years of neurosurgeon stuff. So I wish you the very best of luck. But before we conclude, any key messages to your friends, but more importantly, people who are about to start the year 11 GCSE? Give them a few tips about how you did. Obviously, I know you said you finished everything by February, but just give everybody, not everyone's on the same level, but just a rough idea of what will help them. Just on that camera over there, please.
So start off with seeing making blocks in your day and see where do you usually waste your time, and then find those blocks and try to put your study sessions in those blocks, and then try to have a section of chilling time, but also have a time for studies. And I feel like you should treat yourself as a student. You're a student. Treat it as a career. It's like your job. You don't skip your job. You don't miss some days of your job. You have to do it all the time. And I feel like consistency is probably one of the most beneficial things we can have. And you keep on doing the questions until you got that drill done in your mind. And you just keep on doing it. And eventually it will be second nature to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for those useful words. In 30 seconds, you haven't decided if you want to be a medicine or engineer, but your tips about, as a young British Bangladeshi Muslim girl, how proud you are and how it's important to keep your identity and be proud of that.
Yeah, definitely. Just work hard. Don't listen to other people if they bring you down, and make sure you give yourself a break from time to time.
Excellent. Well, look, I want to thank you and your dad. I want to thank you and your dad for coming onto the show. আপনারা যারা এখন আমাদের সাথে still with us and will be watching from the beginning, আপনাকে ধন্যবাদ জানাইলাম। আশা করি আপনারা inspired feel করছেন যারা আমাদের বাচ্চারা যারা অনেক ভালো করতেছে, but more important from the parents who've given up so much of their time. For example, a family moving from one country to come to London to recently and to settle and to give their children the best opportunity. And আপনারা যারা এখানে লন্ডন থেকে 4 decades, 5 decades, and you become part and parcel of the British community. What are we doing to make sure that our children get the best out of the education system? So, আপনারা একটু information পাইছেন from them. I hope it will inspire you and your children. একটু লক্ষ্য রাখবেন, একটু কষ্ট করবেন, and hopefully that next year or the year after you'll be in the studio talking and sharing your children's education success. Until next week, আপনারা যে যেখানে আছেন ভালো থাকেন, আমাদের সাথে থাকেন. Thank you for watching Pathway. Allah Hafiz.